Hi, everybody. This is Evan Landtroop, Vice President for Epsilon Pi Tau Delta Sigma chapter with the University of Phoenix. Today I'm going to be interviewing Aaron Walker and find out where he's gone in the IT world. Aaron, how are you doing?
Good, good. Just to introduce myself, my name is Aaron Walker, as Evan mentioned. I work at Qualcomm, a telecommunications company. I'm a senior BI systems analyst. So I work in IT. We're going to talk about this a little bit more, but I do business intelligence work, which primarily involves, database queries, building reports, and we kind of also move into more advanced analytics as well, data mining and artificial intelligence type work. So, I'm sure we're going to talk about that during this interview, but just a quick overview of me.
So, to get started, what is your background? What got you into this field and position? Where did you go for school? What work did you do before that got you prepared for this role?
Okay. So from an academic standpoint, I went to the University of Arizona for undergrad and grad school. I went to the Eller College of Management, and I got my MIS degree from there back in 2015. Prior to that, I went there for undergrad, got a psychology degree, and an English education minor, so it's a bit of a move away from what I originally studied. But, I have many interests, as I think most people in IT do. I got into IT originally because I like playing video games, and it's a lot cheaper to build your own computer than to buy one off the shelf. So that kind of got me introduced to it, debugging all of that. Eventually after that, I learned that I could make money doing that. So I started, working in IT at the university when I attended there. I started as kind of a computer lab assistant, and I would just help people with their Excel homework, or if they had a computer issue that didn't need to be escalated to real tech support, I could help them with that. Slowly, as I worked there at the university, they promoted me into more and more, highly responsible positions, and eventually I was leading a team there that did this sort of computer lab IT support when I was still a student. I graduated there, and I'm not sure how many of these questions are going to get into this, but I'll just dig in now.
Sounds good to me.
I graduated there, and then I went to work full time for the university in a more professional, like sort of sysadmin role. I did that, and it was Windows systems administration, a little bit of database maintenance, query writing, report writing. We had a small team at the university kind of maintaining these computer labs, so I wore many hats. I got exposed to a lot of different fields while I worked there, and I happened to become interested in sort of database work and report building.
Now, stepping back just a little bit, how did you get that initial jump into the IT field?
Sure. So like I think many people in IT, it was just a passion of mine in general. I benefited a lot from having friends who were into computers, from being into computers myself. Again, it was a means to an end for a little while because it let me play video games and chat on AOL Instant Messenger and do all this stuff, right?
All the days.
And surreptitiously get online in the middle of the night when I was supposed to be in bed. So being able to set up your own wireless access points and hide them from your parents was a valuable asset. So I got back into that, just sort of like as I needed it, I learned it. And then over the course of years, that turned into a knowledge base that was sufficient to get me my first job as, a computer lab assistant. And that helped me build my confidence, build my skill set, build professional acumen over the course of years. And, that allowed me to turn what was a hobby into a career.
Okay, gotcha. So for somebody that's looking to get started, what would you say is some of the best early things to look towards?
So what I would recommend is find a way to get a wide exposure to a number of things. And that can be through networking events. That can be through 1 or 2 day seminars that give you an overview of, a set of technologies that people turn into a career. you can do this if you have hobbies, find a way to turn them into, sort of computer related, IT related tasks.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're into gardening, maybe you would want to set up an automatic timer. Now, rather than going to the store to buy an automatic timer, maybe you could buy a Raspberry Pi and figure out how to program that along with some solenoids to turn on and off water.
Okay.
And that sort of activity, one, it's going to save you a little bit of money versus an off-the-shelf tool probably. And two, it's going to teach you some valuable skills in a little bit of scripting and doing some research and, reading Stack Overflow articles to figure out why what you're trying to do isn't working yet. It's going to also help you build the confidence and understanding that, there isn't really all that much to it. It's just a series of moving parts, and you have to learn how to tie them all together.
Okay. I gotcha. So you'd mentioned you went from U of A and you moved out to California to go work with Qualcomm. How did that process come about?
So a large part of that comes to one of the most important things I think you can do as a budding IT employee. I got what was essentially an internship near the end of grad school with Qualcomm.
Okay.
And that allowed me to introduce myself to the team I would eventually go to work for. It gave me the opportunity to, show that I could do good work, and it was excellent for networking. Mm-hmm. So that internship quickly turned into a career after I graduated. I was 1 week out of grad school, and I got an offer from Qualcomm saying, we like what you've done so far, so can you come work for that same team?
Okay.
And I worked there for a year as a consultant, which is pretty normal at Qualcomm, and then they turned it into a full-time position once they decided I was worth keeping around.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but that's kind of how it worked for me.
Okay. And during all this, you just kept developing your skills, mostly?
Yeah, so I had kind of a generalist skill set. I was a systems administrator, I was IT support, I was even like a person manager when I worked at the university because we had such a small team. So I had a lot of diverse skills that were all important, right? But it's not, at a big company like Qualcomm, there tends to be an interest in having people very specialized in one specific field. Okay. So whereas I might spend 2 to 10 hours a week on reporting in my role at the university, they wanted me to do that full time.
Okay.
So there's a difference between being someone who does something occasionally and being someone who does something professionally.
Okay.
So what I had to do was, through school and through my opportunity at that internship, and then also through my first few very stressful months at Qualcomm, I had to learn to be a professional, business intelligence analyst rather than just being a generalist like I was before.
No longer wrangling students.
Right, yeah, doing whatever was required to get the work done at the university. Mm-hmm. This was definitely a more, sort of single-focused role.
Okay. Who are the people that you work with alongside now at Qualcomm? So
to describe, it might be best to kind of get into what I do and then talk about the peripheral.
Let's do that.
So what I do primarily day to day, I am an IT systems analyst, and what that means is I'm a people person, to quote Office Space. I'm expected to have some technical aptitude. Like, I need to be there to, write SQL queries to debug problems during the day, and to make sure that if we have a new request for a new project from our customers, that I can write a specification for that I can get clear understanding from them on exactly how that works. Mm-hmm. And I have to understand the systems that go into the reports. So, we have all these source systems, and this is common in business intelligence, that we pull from, and then we create our own databases with structured data that we use to build reports off of. Mm-hmm. So I need to, as an analyst, understand each of those different data sets, the source system, our system, the reports that we build in the end. And I need to have kind of a big grand vision of what that needs to look like to complete the project.
Okay.
So to answer your other question about who I work with from a day-to-day perspective, they're actual developers, programmer analysts who are responsible for building these systems once I design them.
Okay.
And there are database administrators who are responsible for keeping the database online from day to day. And they do everything from updates and maintenance work to answering my questions if I have something, or granting permissions to people. And again, when you work on a big team, there tend to be these specialized roles. So the database administrator, if I need something, I fill out a form, I specify why I need it, and then it gets approved and sent through.
Okay.
The programmer analyst, they're directly on my team, and these people are responsible for doing the development, like I mentioned. So the sort of form I fill out for them is a functional requirements document. And that functional requirements document says, here are the data inputs, here's what we need from a report on the output, and here's kind of what the inner workings might look like.
Okay.
And I basically describe a system that would allow us to get from the beginning, the inception of this project and all the source data that we have, to a final output.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's their job to tell me, one, where I'm wrong, because that's going to be the case, and two, tell me if it's possible to do it exactly the way that I've specified. And then their job is to do the implementation.
Okay.
And my role with them, my interaction with them typically is I answer questions as they come up, or I go back to the business and get clarification on that. I'm also expected to have the technical aptitude where if they run into an issue, I can look into it and provide my own feedback.
Okay.
But again, I'm not doing the majority of the development here.
Okay.
That's definitely
playing to your competencies.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Well, for some of the things that you've gone through so far, what would you say you're going to be looking forward to next, projects-wise or skills development-wise?
So I alluded to it when I was introducing myself. The team that I work on today is a traditional analytics team,
Mm-hmm.
and we, like I mentioned, we use traditional databases. We build reports off of those databases, and we pull from source systems that are also databases. And there's that buzzword going around, big data.
Yes.
And what that means is, just to my own definition, everyone has their own, is kind of a volume and speed of influx of data too big to hold in a normal database. So
Okay.
You're getting so much data so fast that storing it in a database is impossible, and then also maintaining it in a traditional database sense would be impossible. Even if the data stopped coming in, it's just too much.
Okay.
So when you have these big data situations, and that's increasingly common in today's world, where everything sort of reports back to a home system, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have our cell phones that constantly tell us where we are at all times.
Yeah, we've got all the Google Assistant, Google Home,
Right.
Alexa,
And all that data is being stored on the back end. And what analytics roles are turning into now is figuring out exactly how we can go about mining that data
Okay.
and turning it into insights. So the traditional tools that we've used have always been writing database queries, building reports, and the future of that is more of learning how to store and structure these very large data sets,
Okay.
and then convey that into what would essentially be reports, what would essentially be insights. But the track to do that is through machine learning or data science.
Okay.
And there's a little bit of sort of like statistical analysis there that's important to understand. There are machine learning algorithms which stand apart, and you might have heard of neural networks. That's another kind of buzz phrase today, but
Mm-hmm.
That's a meaningful tool that people can use to take large data sets and kind of build an inference engine. Say we have, all of these people that we give insurance to today,
Mm-hmm.
and you have all of their characteristics. You feed that into an engine, and then you build this kind of answer machine where you say, here's a new profile. What sort
Mm-hmm.
of risk is this person to us?
Gotcha.
And using a neural network, you can do something that actuaries have been sitting around, building tables of for the last, hundreds of years.
I gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
So that's what we're kind of trying to turn the career into a little bit. It's definitely the direction that things are moving in.
Yeah. Especially with, you've got, what was it? Google's Deep Blue, was it? Or
Yeah, the
What
one
was
that one Go.
yeah,
Alpha Go.
there
was
that one, and then what's the Dream one as well?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Deep Dreams.
deep blue or something like
Yeah.
that, where it would take an image and kind of morph it.
Yeah, this is what Google thinks a house looks like.
Right. Yeah. That was an interesting visual representation of what a machine learning algorithm can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, of course, what I'm going to have to do after this interview is then go find images and then stick it up alongside this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we had a green screen, you could put that in the background.
Oh, there we go.
Just unfortunate.
Next time.
Okay.
Well, do you have any final thoughts or things that you feel that our Honor Society students should look into?
I think the most important thing to do when you're a student looking to build a career is to find a way to network. And the people you network with should be people who have some experience in the field you're interested in getting into. Go to networking events, talk to people who have attended the university that you attend, who are alumni, because there's no better resource than somebody who knows the quality of the institution that you attend, mm-hmm. who knows that what you're doing today is meaningful, and they also know, what they can do for you once you graduate. These are people who will have the resources to point you in the right direction,
okay,
to give you guidance. And if you take advantage of all the networking opportunities that you have, that's a good way to get that initial experience that gets you in the door.
Okay.
Now, of course, there's work that goes along with that. When you talk to people, when you're networking, part of it should be, that elevator pitch, that 1-minute speech about here's what I am, here's what I can do, and here's the value that I can provide to you. And then the next part of that is learning how to work with people and build that skill set into something mm-hmm. that they would find valuable.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me and meet with me and put me up for the weekend.
Yeah, I hope this was valuable for anyone who's watched it. If anyone has any questions, you can filter them and let me know.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Well, thank you again, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Evan. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.